If I don't understand what you do, there's no way that I'm going to refer you, or when you're looking for a potential client or a job or whatever, I cannot use my network to help you, or I cannot use my knowledge or whatever to recommend you, to connect you with somebody, because I have no clue who you actually are. And I think this is a little bit as if there would be money lying on the road or a street, and we're just too lazy to bend down and pick it up. By giving your best to really making yourself understandable and portraying your true self or your authentic self, or however you want to call it, this is what it's all about. And when you use the right hashtag, when you post at the right time, when you have the right people in your network, when you tag the right people in this post, it could open doors to so many opportunities.
Helping you find your new way forward to the best years of your life. This is a New Way Forward podcast with your host, Paul Long.
Personal branding is an absolute must nowadays. Now, people have so many misconceptions about personal branding. They think it's for celebrities or it's being braggadocious. No, it's this simple. It's about A, letting people know that you exist, and B, who you are and what you have to offer. So to help you do your personal branding is this interview with Dr. Natalia Wachinski. She is a globally renowned personal branding coach. And by the way, she became globally renowned because she applied her personal branding methods to her own success. She's a best-selling author, speaker, edutainer, LinkedIn trainer, and instructor. So have pen and paper or device ready to take notes, to take down these methods and insights that Natalia is going to share with you. And let's start with one of the most important things, and that is to be authentic.
Yeah, it's about being authentic. It's about giving your best at clearly portraying yourself, or being like really making people understand how you are different. Because there's so many individuals out there who claim that they're great at something, or there's so many people with fancy titles, and the other individual actually doesn't understand what it is. How often, Paul, did you get a business card or receive an email from somebody with this super fancy title and you think, yeah, QBTRSPM manager. What does that mean? If I don't understand what you do, there's no way that I'm going to refer you, or when you're looking for a potential client or a job or whatever, I cannot use my network to help you, or I cannot use my knowledge or whatever to recommend you, to connect you with somebody, because I have no clue who you actually are. And I think this is a little bit as if there would be money lying on the road or a street, and we're just too lazy to bend down and pick it up. So by giving your best to really making yourself understandable and portraying your true self or your authentic self, or however you want to call it, this is what it's all about. I mean, leave the bragging at home, leave the, oh, look at me, I'm the best. This is not what it's all about. Everybody finds their way how to present themselves. And of course, some people say, yeah, but I primarily read about the good things. Well, if you're a woman, let me ask you this. Do you just go out of the house as you woke up, or do you put a little bit of concealer here, a little bit of red lipstick there, a little bit of rouge, maybe a little bit of eyeliner? Is that fake? No. For me, it just means you have a beautiful foundation and you enhance and you work with what you already have. And the same is true for a gentleman, by the way. I think that beards are the makeup for gentlemen, because when you just wake up, you have a beard and everything's all over your face, man. But if you really style it, if you shave it, if you comb your hair, if you maybe wear great glasses, totally different first impression. And we human beings, we're judgmental beings. We have certain expectations of individuals, how they should walk, and talk, and dress, and whatever. And if you combine that thought with Shakespeare, who supposedly once said that life is just a stage, I would say, go out there and play.
Yeah, and you know, that triggers a lot of thoughts too. I mean, you're spot on about that, because yeah, you know, I may not put on makeup, I may not have to do much with my hair, but you know, when I dress nicely and appropriately, that makes me feel good about myself. And optics do matter. The ergo, which we'll talk about, either in this interview or a second interview that we'll be doing, which is how to crush it on LinkedIn. That picture that you have on LinkedIn, as you've taught and as so many others have validated, that first 3 seconds that they're on your site, they're already forming an impression of you. And that's just the way the human beings are, right or wrong. Yep. But the second thing I'd like to bring up is that, David Cooley, again, in an interview on New Way Forward, talking about how to present yourself to the job market or freelance market or whatever, says that you've got to connect the dots for people. You can't just say, kind of like the resume I did coming out of college, well, I've done this and this and this and this, and maybe even I've achieved this. You've got to connect the dots to me to say, here's who I am, here's the value I can bring to you, and here's what I have to offer. And personal branding is a great enabler for that, right?
Absolutely. I mean, great personal brands, they use content, the art of content marketing, the art of storytelling, however you want to label that, to show that what they claim is actually true. Everybody can create a beautiful CV or maybe download one from the internet and claim that they've done it. Fantastic. But if you, through your podcast, YouTube channel, blog, LinkedIn status update, Twitter feeds, and there's so many other ways, through every piece of content, you can actually prove and show that you are really the expert at what you do. Are you a great communicator? Well, then write a beautiful piece on communication. Are you great at drawing? Well, then create content that is beautifully drawn. Use your skill, your talent, your gift, your wisdom, your knowledge, and express that through content, which for me, every piece of content is a little bit like a mini project like a pro bono project, like a test work, like a mini internship that you throw out there to the world. And when you use the right hashtag, when you post at the right time, when you have the right people in your network, when you tag the right people in this post, it could open doors to so many opportunities. And that is also something that a lot of people don't understand in the whole job search game. They apply how they've applied in the 1970s. Well, fantastic, that worked in the 1970s. Now it's a little bit later. If you send out 200 CVs, most probably copy and paste, with either no personalized letter, and then you say, oh, nobody got back to me. Oh, really? You know what? I would change the game in the sense that I go out there with my content, with my knowledge, with my expertise, and I allow my work and my network to do the work for me. Because guess what? First of all, you're going to do something different. You're going to look for a job in a modern way. Plus, there are so many companies out there, they actually don't look for somebody. They don't have a vacancy. But when they see you, and they like you as a human being, they might create a job for you. And this is next level job search.
If I'm an introvert, or I'm like so many people, I can't write, I don't know what to say, I can't do those things. And of course, you and I always say, oh, it's easier than you think it is, and you can. And the big thing is to just do. But what do you say to those people who are just like, I'm no good with social, I'm not a good writer? So what do I do when it comes to LinkedIn or other types of engagements to let people know who I am and what I have to offer, not just what my resume says?
First of all, I believe that the concept of being an introvert is totally misunderstood and used as an excuse for not doing the hard and smart work. An introvert, as I understand it, just means that you rather get your energy out of solitude. There are people who go out there, and when they're amongst people, this is how they get energized, and this is how they grow, and this is how they feel incredible. And introverts rather get their energy from spending time at home and alone. And guess what? When you use social media, you can do this out of the privacy of your own home. So don't use the introvert lame excuse on me, because I'm more of an introvert than an extrovert as well. Yes, I love being on stages. I love to entertain people. And after that, I need a lot of me time. So that's the first thing. Then, if you say, oh, I'm a bad writer, well, what about your speaking? Okay, if you say, oh, I'm not a good speaker, What about your drawing skills? If you say, I'm not good at it as well, what kind of skills do you have that you can use there? Because there is a skill. That's the first thing. Second of all, you could theoretically hire a copywriter or a social media freelancer, or ask a friend who is good with writing or creating content who can help you with that. If that's also not an option, what you could do is strategically comment on the posts of other people. Google the term Gary V $1.80 strategy. That is a strategy worth $1 million, because it teaches you how to engage with the content of other people. Through that, you will study the content pieces of other people, and eventually, once you understood the game, you can then start creating your own ones. So once again, if there's a will, there is a way.
Yeah, and as we will dig into in the How to Crush It on LinkedIn segment, but even just as you've advised before, and as I've succeeded with, and I've seen other people succeed with, even being on like LinkedIn, and so I'm working on the being simple, to just get you started. Because once you get started, once you start trying it, once you're like, oh my gosh, I'm actually doing this, and that's the thing. Just do it, just do it, and you'll get better and better and better, and more comfortable with it. But it's even just sharing. It's looking at your sector. So let's say you're an automotive engineer, okay?
Exactly.
And you're an introvert. But if you're looking at articles and people in LinkedIn and such that are in your sector, and you're like, I like this article, this is big, I'm going to share it. And I just make a few comments at the top saying, I really found this interesting because, right? I mean, it can be really simple.
That's simple. Yes. Just add 2 or 3 sentences, as you said. Just don't hit the share now button, because then I'll be thinking, yeah, so what? Why did you share it? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did you write it? Do you know somebody? What is your motivation? So if you start with 2 or 3 sentences, that is enough. And if you do that once per week, let's start with once per month. Then we do it twice per month. Then we do it once per week. And guess what? Surprise, surprise. Spoiler alert. You're not going to die. There will be no hater. People will not knock at your door. They will not burn your house down. And once you hit the publish button, nothing is going to change. The world will keep on turning. And all the drama that you've created in your head is just drama.
Yes, it's like anything. The fear of doing it is worse than the doing it. And once you do it, you're like, oh my gosh, this isn't that bad, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So with that said, kind of characterize for us some of the success stories. I mean, you've worked with so many people all over the world, every shape, color, size you can imagine, personality. What have you seen when people have latched onto this and gotten the momentum and done it? I mean, give us a characterization or an example.
So I'm thinking, because recently a lot of people around their 50s knocked at my door and they say, Natalia, there's the social marketing thing or social media thing, and I don't like it. But hey, we live in these times in which we live, so teach me that stuff. And I said, okay, you're really willing to do the hard and smart work? And when people say yes, we do that. So we usually start with their profile sharpening. So we really dig deeper and understand questions like, what problems do you solve? For whom? What is the end result? How do you want to be perceived? How do you want to make people feel? Who's your target audience? What's your trademark? And all of these things. So we optimize their LinkedIn profile. And you won't believe it, Paul. Some people already get job opportunities just by optimizing their LinkedIn profile. Because people in their network will see, oh, you changed position, or oh, you moved to New York, or oh, wow, you've lost weight, or you look so energized, because they upload a new profile picture. So just updating their LinkedIn profile can already result in opportunities. So for me, this makes me super happy. And then they expand their network and they connect with potential clients, with former clients and whatever. And there's always at least this one call or catch up or virtual catch up that opens doors to other opportunities. People, once they create content, they are found, they are invited to podcasts, they're invited to be a speaker here or there. They get leads, they get clients, they get job opportunities. Funnily enough, one of my clients, she joined me and she wanted to teach her team how to use LinkedIn as a sales tool. And her team wasn't really excited about that. But after less than 1.5 months, another company approached her. She wasn't looking for a job, but a company that was kind of a competitor. And they said, we love what you do. How much money do you make? We want to offer you more. Come to us because that's actually what we need. So she left her job, joined this new company, and then could really work with LinkedIn and share her content on whatever. And she was welcome and celebrated there. So the amount of opportunities is literally limitless. And the majority of us don't get started because we're so scared, especially of the opinions of other people. Maybe the people that we love, maybe people who, and this is what I also figured out, usually those who criticize you have no clue how personal branding or LinkedIn or content works. So as everything in life, really double check if you want to accept the opinion or feedback of people who have no clue what they talk about.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, and because also with my endeavor too, and what I've heard from other people in roles such as yours and mine, that a couple of things. In the first place, it's just like, the life observation that if somebody's mad or mean or harsh or whatever, it's really a problem that they have within themselves. It's not about you. And there are going to be people out there who have nothing better to do than to criticize. But the thing is that it's their opinion and it's their own head and it's their own thing. It really, in a way, has absolutely nothing to do with you. And I've gotten some of those comments before and I blow them off because overwhelmingly I get the positive comments. I get people saying, thank you for sharing this. Oh, I found this helpful. What I've learned from you is that every time I do a LinkedIn post or YouTube or whatever, I invite the comments and I do it specifically. I say, what do you think? Or do you think this is right or wrong or whatever? And what do people want to do? They want to share their opinion. And it's not about you. It's what you're talking about, which kind of leads to the second thing real quickly is that, and I thought this was a brilliant insight that you gave me when we first met, and that it's when you start doing things like posting on social media, these articles or thoughts that you have and everything, you are a thought leader. And I said, wait a minute, no, it's not like you're, Richard Branson or Steve Jobs or something. And you're like, no, you're leading thought. You're provoking thought and discussion and opinion. And that's something that even the biggest introvert in the world can do.
Absolutely. I mean, focus on your niche or focus on your target audience. Focus on the people that you want to reach. I work with clients who focus on the topic of how do I set up my business in Asia, or I want to help mothers start their own online business, or I want to help men to become better fathers. So they position themselves in a really, really incredible, let's say, pool, or they have designed a target audience that is very, very pointed. So will they have millions of followers? Will their posts go viral? No, but within their audience, within their industry, within their bubble, within their niche, within their, however you want to call it, they are seen as somebody who leads thought, who inspires conversation, who connects people, who builds an online community, a safe space where like-minded people meet to talk about the things that are important to them. And they don't care about the rest of the world, because this is the place where you meet when you want to talk about retirement. This is the place when you want to talk about cigars. This is the place when you want to talk about mindfulness. This is the place when you want to meet and talk about dogs or cooking or whatever. And that's fine. So we built all of these beautiful little bubbles that can coexist. And instead of measuring yourself with people who have nothing to do with you, who have totally different targets, who are in a different age group, who don't want to live and work like you, why do you do that? It just creates pain. So understand that you're allowed to be the queen or the king or the hero in your own world, in your own digital community that you create. And also don't get how can I say that, sad or embarrassed or whatever, when you just have 300 followers or just have 90 people engaging with your content. Imagine you would book a ballroom, or you would stand on the stage and you would have 90 people there or 40 people there or 400 people there, real human beings. If you have the same interest, you can create so much magic together.
Boy, yeah, well, in the first place, as Seth Godin says, we often think, oh, I need thousands of people, I need millions of people and stuff like that. He says, what is your minimum viable audience? What is the size audience you, Natalia, need to succeed at your enterprise? What I need to succeed at my enterprise? If you're looking for a job, you need one. You need one person that's going to hire you. And the point is that when you connect or you're applying or whatever, that person's going to check you out on LinkedIn. And if you're doing these things, it shows not only who you are, but it shows you're up to date. There was a survey done on hiring managers that said, I'm not being ageist toward older people. They're out of date. They're not going to fit in with this team. This shows that you're up to date. And by the way, in looking at this stuff and generating conversations intellectually, you're getting up to date. I mean, it's a beautiful symbiotic ecosphere of doing what you need to do to succeed at what you need to succeed.
Yeah.
How did you do it? How did I do it? I mean, I always tout the fact that she obviously knows what she's talking about because she succeeded herself in growing from being unknown to a globally recognized expert. How did you do it?
Step by step, day by day, post by post. There is no magic formula. I literally woke up one day realizing I'm not happy. And I look successful on paper, but I don't feel anything. I actually feel really sad. I feel empty. And this is when I went on a self-imposed sabbatical to redesign myself, to let go of everything that I thought I always knew, and to come up with better answers. And since I'm a kid, I was always fascinated by the North American way of living, the way how you folks market yourself. I was like, oh, this is fantastic, because I'm German. I now live in the United Arab Emirates. And I think there is a big cultural difference in the way how we present ourselves. And this is when I realized, you know what, let me learn from the best. So I studied one book after the other. I watched one documentary after the other. I implemented all of the things that I've learned in different videos from a Tim Ferriss, from a Gary Vaynerchuk, from a Tony Robbins, from an Oprah Winfrey, from a Mel Robbins, all of these people. I didn't only consume, but I also always applied one thing. And when you apply one thing every day, my goodness, over a period of 7 years, of course, you're going to be successful in your bubble and niche. And it started with me acknowledging that I could do better and that I am worthy of living a good life and having a job that really makes me happy. So let's start with that. You deserve to be happy and you deserve to work in your dream job. If you don't give yourself permission to have that, to be that, nobody else is going to do it.
Wonderful life advice. And you're the living embodiment of that success because you've done it and you've kept going. You've kept improving yourself. You've kept focusing on things because the other thing, and I think you're a prime example of this too, and this gets into not just personal branding, but why you're doing the personal branding for all of us when we're trying to find a new way forward, is that, it takes some courage to change. It takes some within ourselves. And sometimes you have to confront some things, but the courage builds. And I think you're the embodiment of that. I mean, I have seen you get stronger and stronger with courage over the years. We co-mentor each other. And I think that's a great life lesson because it was hard for you at first, and it's been hard for you sometimes, but as you've often characterized, the payoff is phenomenal, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it was also Tony Robbins who said that change is pain, and we only change when the pain, I hope I don't butcher it, when the pain of staying the same is bigger than the pain of change. So the big question that you maybe have to answer or to ponder on, it might be painful, have you suffered enough? If you didn't suffer enough, most probably you're not going to change. But you know what? I think life works in mysterious ways. If you don't collect all of the courage right now in order to make that jump, life would say, okay, I'll wait another round. And then she comes and she has a baseball bat. And next time it might be your head. And if you don't get that one, I'm not putting a spell on you. Natalia, and over to you. What are the three words?
Okay, yeah, the three things. And by the way, I also invite you to connect virtually and in a recording to our other interview, which is on how to crush it on LinkedIn, which is so foundational. And by the way, here's her book. Do you have a copy? Yes, you have.
Yes, I have one as well.
Highly regarded book on how to crush it on LinkedIn. So, all right, you're right, Natalia. I need to do this. What are the first three critical steps, mindsets, approaches, whatever? What are your top three pieces of advice for me?
First of all, we've heard this a trillion times, and I'll repeat again, why? What's your why? What's your reason? What's your motivation? If you don't know why you're doing this, you're not going to do this. So get clear on your agenda, on your reason, on your target, on your purpose, whatever term you want to use, these are just labels. So know your why, because when you will be in moments of doubt or moments of then you can always look at this piece of paper, at this sentence, whatever, draw it at the wall and reconnect with, aha, this is why I'm doing it. Fantastic. Okay. Then ideally you set up a plan, because you don't need to create something huge and fancy and a business plan and this mega strategy, but you know where you want to be and you know when you want to be there. So plan backwards. What can you do in 3 months to get there, in 1 month, in 1 week? What can I do today? What is the one little tiny little baby step that you can achieve in order to get there? And I highly recommend you work with an accountability partner. Find a group of people who want to achieve the same thing. Find them online, go to a meeting, invest in a coach, just somehow get the accountability. If it's not positive accountability in the sense of, hey, we do this together and what do you think and how have you grown, then use something that I call negative accountability. Each time I don't do blank, I pay my friend $20. That could also work.
I love that. Yeah, an accountability buddy. I love that. And masterminding, teaming up with people, whatever you're trying to do, somebody else is trying to do it and somebody else has already done it. So I'll add number four, get in touch with Natalia. That's the other option. I mean, just go do it and get it from the best. Natalia, absolutely, as always, phenomenally wonderful. I invite everybody to, in fact, I insist, check out our discussion on LinkedIn and how to crush it on LinkedIn, because that is if you think about it, 30 years ago, how did you get yourself out there? How did you get the world out there? Well, now, among other sources, you've got LinkedIn. We're going to give you the insights on how to crush it on that. Natalia, thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Paul.
If you like this, there's a lot more on YouTube. Also, there's even more on newwayforward.com. That's newwayfwd.com. There you can subscribe. You'll get a free newsletter regularly. You'll get special updates, and you'll get a free download to help you step by step get going on your new way forward.